Yo, what's up, guys? It's another episode of PB&J. I'm here with Jesse. It's just the two of us today holding it down. What's up, Jesse?
What's up?
Yeah, Brian's in Destination Unknown. We don't know, we know where he's at, but he likes to make a little game out of it, see if our listeners can figure it out. Last time, in our last podcast, we kind of mentioned about doing a top 10 TV shows, our favorite TV shows of all time. But Patrick is also out of town this weekend, and he really wanted to do that one. So we'll wait for him to get back, and we'll do that one. But me and Jesse thought it would be fun to do a list of our top 10 favorite movies of all time. And this was actually Jesse's idea. He kind of threw it out there. This list is our favorite movies of all time, not the best movies of all time. Right, Jesse? That's a big difference.
Yes. Yeah.
So you're not gonna see any Casablanca or Citizen Kane on here, because if you want to see those type of lists, top 10 best movies or 100 best movies, you can find those online anywhere. So this is a little different. It's just our own personal favorite movies ever.
And what we want to also make sure that you guys understand, these are more kind of like personal for us. It's not like, because this was tough to get the list down to only 10. And we're even going to be stuck with doing some honorable mentions because we didn't want to cut some off. And at the same time, my personal choice was to go ahead and not do anything within the last 10 years because a lot of really good movies have come out. So it's kind of unfair for us to focus on just brand new. And everybody obviously knows the last 10 years of movies. So why talk about those? Let's go ahead and talk about some of the older movies, some of the movies that we enjoyed that somehow affected us in our lives. And if you guys agree with us, and see if these movies are maybe in your top 10.
Yeah, and also another rule we kind of did is no superhero movies, because those could like dominate both of our lists since we're both big nerds. And also for myself, since the very first podcast I listed off my top 10 favorite horror movies of all time, to kind of keep myself, from being, from repeating myself and saying the same movies over again. I also limited myself to no horror movies in my list. So my personal rule was no horror movies and no superhero movies. Because if I let those in, then my list would be, Iron Man, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Winter Soldier, Halloween, The Thing. And there's 7 of my top 10 right there. And if I just keep in more horror movies and more superhero movies like Spider-Man 2 or X-Men 2, that's it. There's my top 10. It's already done. So I'm not doing that. I'm going to keep out superhero movies. I'm going to keep out horror movies. And I'm going to be 100% honest. That was really, really hard. Putting this list together was really tough. I was looking at my DVDs and my Blu-rays and oh, I love this movie. Nope, that's a horror movie. I love this movie. Nope, that's a horror movie. I love this. Nope, superhero. Damn it. So I really had to sit down and think of the movies that I've watched over the years that I really, really like. And I think I came up with a pretty good list. I like it. I'm not sure if it was, Jesse, you were saying that you had a bunch of movies and just cutting it down to 10 was tough, right?
Oh, yeah. And I'm still thinking right now on honorable mentions that I should add any more. You, like I said, you think about, all the movies that you've watched since you were a kid, and it's a shitload of movies, and it's there's so many good ones. If not, then there wouldn't be an Academy Awards every year.
Right.
Yeah. But like I said, I'm on the top 10. Once I finished the top 10, I was like, this is it. This is final. Forget this. I'm not second guessing myself on these top 10. But it's still, oh man, what about this one? What about this one?
Yeah.
So our listeners might go ahead and see something that I say. I'm like, why did you pick that one when there's so many other ones? Hey, bite me. You try to come up with a list and do your own podcast. Shut the fuck up. But this is my list, so.
Yeah. It will be interesting to see when Brian gets back. I know he's a big Disney guy, so he'll probably have a bunch of those in there. Yeah, and some of those are really good too. But I remember being a kid and I like the Disney movies, but they didn't have a huge impact on me like Brian, someone like Brian who loves all that stuff. So that's another reason why I wanted to do, or why we wanted to do a podcast like this, is because everyone's different. Everyone has a list, their favorite movies. They're all different. Even us, even though we have a lot of shared interests and stuff. Our lists are gonna be so different, probably. Just our taste and stuff, and yeah. So when Brian gets back, and Patrick, we'll throw it out of them too, just see if they can name out 10 real quick.
We'll have to, of course, tell Brian no princesses, no princess. Anything with any princess, you got to cut off your list. And that's including no, I guess he didn't like that one.
Which one?
The one, not Assassin's Creed. The other one, Prince of Persia.
Oh, Prince of Persia. Okay.
Yeah.
Nah, I didn't like that one.
No, but I had Princess, and that's why I thought that one. Because he also likes those video type games movies.
Yeah.
Where they actually argue.
So you said you said you had some honorable mentions. So what do you got?
Oh, you want me to start with honorable? Okay. Damn, now I can't say them at the end. This one was tough because it was number 10, 11. But I knew I had to get honorable mention. It was Schindler's List. That movie is just great. It's very sad. Love the whole symbolism. So, and of course, it's made by Spielberg and stuff. So really, really good movie.
Yeah, that one is like you said, it's really awesome. I mean, like when you watch it and you're like, oh my god, right? It just hits you.
Yeah.
That's a hard movie to watch, though, man. Like you can't just put that on. Like, oh, I got an hour to kill. Let me put on Schindler's List. You can't do it. That's a hard movie to watch. So. Not
even that. It's like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
So it's 3 hours long of such a horrible, horrible time, and you got to give props for his sacrifice and what he did to help as many people as he could, and it kind of sucks that even with what he did, he still feels that he didn't do enough, and just the movie itself is really great. But again, like you said, it's not a movie you're gonna just pop in anytime. It's one of those movies you're gonna have conversations with people with, but it's not gonna be a movie you can just play every time in the middle of the night. Oh, you know what I want to see.
Yeah.
And, which is actually one of my honorable mentions on there, and I think everyone will laugh once I get to that one. You want me to keep on going up?
Yeah. Go ahead, keep going. Yeah, we'll go through yours and then we'll go through mine.
Next one, Gremlins.
Yeah.
That is the shit movie, and you can watch whenever you want.
Yeah, actually just watched that one not too long ago, like 2-3 weeks ago on Netflix. I was like, I haven't seen Gremlins in a while. I threw it on there.
Yeah, but my little brother just saw it there, and I was so proud. I was like, oh, watching a classic. and the special effects compared to now are real flimsy and stuff, but come on. He's still so cute, and what sucks? I mean, Gizmo was the shit, and then when he comes back, gets revenge. I mean, that was the shit. And of course, you got PB Cates.
Yeah,
that was before it disappeared. I mean, PB Cates was like the hottest chick at that time.
Yeah, and then she just disappeared, right?
Yeah, it was like, come on, like, what happened to you?
Yeah, she did. She did. Gremlins 2, and then that was it. Like you just didn't see her anymore.
But she also did Drop Dead Fred after that. That was after kind of.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Drop Dead Fred. But then that was it, right?
Yeah, she did a few more films after, nothing that we remember, and she hasn't done anything in 2001 according to Wikipedia stuff. But come on, hot. Next one, The Goonies. That one was also. Are all these movies Steven Spielberg?
Goonies? Is Goonies Spielberg?
I don't know. Maybe he did. Let me double check. Director? No, that's Richard Donner.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But either way, The Goonies was good. I mean, all the cast became, bigger names later.
Yeah, you have Cable in there, Cable and Thanos.
I know, I was looking at this. Josh Brolin, Sean Austin, Corey Feldman, which, of course, what happened. I'm trying to see, there's a bunch of other guys.
Yeah, Joe Pantoliano.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, that's a good,
I love the little Asian kid. I mean, I kind of, wanted to be him because he did the little inventions, and he was the little geek of the group, and, it was just so cute. Like, he would come up with, little inventions, and I don't know. I thought he was cool.
Yeah.
Next one, Back to School. Ronnie Dangerfield. That one, and of course, you actually have Robert Downey Jr. in this too.
Yeah.
But this Robert Downey Jr. going back to school. I mean, him going back to school to me is like, if I went back to school, like actually like campus money, the chicks during the parties. I love the fact that he gets a bad paper on writing paper on Robert. What was his name? I just lost his name. But basically, Vonnegut. He got a bad paper on Vonnegut. The teacher says, I don't know who wrote this paper, but it was written by somebody who doesn't know Vonnegut, which is funny because it was actually Vonnegut who wrote the paper on himself for him. And so, I don't know, to me it was just really funny seeing Rodney Dangerfield do the whole swim thing, doing the jump and everything. It was pretty cool. So, I mean, I love that movie. That one I can pop in all the time. I've seen it a few times on Cody, or sometimes if it's later, I want to say I actually even own it. It might be one of those rare movies I actually bought, just because it's a shit. Last honorable, and I know you laugh every time I say it, but How High? How High is fucking hilarious, and it's not like the best comedic movie ever. It's just when you're just brain dead and there's nothing else on TV and that's showing, you're just gonna it's just funny. It's the whole concept is funny. I mean, two potheads, going to college. The guy, I don't know. To me, it's one of those. I got nothing to do. Just sit back and veg out. It's How High.
And it's such a dumb story, right? Don't they smoke their friends' ashes?
Yes.
Yeah, he gives them.
And then his name was Ivory. That's what it was, Ivory. And then I need money. He's like, what do they call you? I need money because I need money.
Yeah.
He has it on his keys. I need money and gold. Then he's all of a sudden the DJ, and he's like so ghetto that he uses a plate for the scratching instead of a vinyl.
Yeah.
When they're at the party, the hose. Who are you calling a hoe? I mean, it's just stupid throughout the whole movie. Gotta laugh. So that has to be on my top.
I remember my brother was watching it years ago, and I came in. I'm like, "What are you watching?" He's like, "How High? It's hilarious." I sat there and watched it, and I was like, "This is the dumbest movie I've ever seen in my life."
It is.
They're taking a test, and their dead friend, the ghost is like, "This answer is B, answer C," because wasn't he like really smart?
No. It was the fact that those questions were like let's say Ben Franklin or something. So he knew. So he would just ask Ben Franklin, what the situation is, or on the SATs or something, whatever they had been taking. He knew the dead guy who actually originally wrote it, and so that's how. So basically, that's how he was getting the answers. Not that he was smart, but he was getting the inside information from whoever the people were.
See, I remember I thought, like, seeing the commercials at the time, I thought they had smoked their best friend and he was smart and then made them smart. And I was like, that's okay, I get it. And then I was watching it and I was like, wait a minute, this is dumber than that. He said, yeah, that's a dumbass movie.
Hey, again, these are not the best movies in history. These are my favorites. It's funny how that's on my mention list, to Schindler's List.
So, Schindler's List and How High are on Jesse's almost top 10 movies of all time.
Exactly. I didn't put him on there, you see? At least I had standards for my top 10.
Oh, man. Spielberg is rolling over his grave right now.
Oh, man. All right, so what are yours?
All right, so here's my honorable mentions. This one, I kind of went against my rule a little bit. 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where it's pretty close to being. It's almost a horror movie.
I mean, it's more of a crime drama.
Yeah. It's a crime drama thriller, but it's right on the edge of being a horror movie. It's not really scary. Like there's not like a monster chasing them or something like that. They're hunting down a serial killer, and he leaves real gruesome crime scenes. So it's right on the edge for me, right on the edge of being a horror movie, but it is like a crime thriller, really dark, really brutal crime thriller. It's like Law and Order to the 20th level.
Yeah.
But then I love that movie. I can. It's just kind of weird, right? Because I'm saying, oh, Schindler's List is hard to watch, but Seven, yeah, throw that on. Yeah, this guy's killing people and he's leaving them, in horrible situations. But man, yeah,
It's based on the book, right?
I don't know if it is a book.
Yeah, double check. But and so they novelized it. Oh, they wrote a book after.
Right, the novelization. Yeah, where they go off the script.
Yeah, I thought it was based because I thought that the detective that Morgan plays is a character in a book.
Oh, okay.
That might be the movie.
Yeah, so this one, Seven, came out in the mid '90s. I want to say it's around like '96 or something like that, right? If you still have it up.
95 actually.
Okay, yeah. So '95, and this was one of David Fincher's. I think it might have been his first movie actually, and love David Fincher. One of his other movies is on my top 10 list. You can probably guess which one, but he also did Gone Girl, Social Network, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Curious Case of Benjamin Button, Zodiac. So this dude is legit. So this is the first movie I saw by him, and I was like, holy crap, this guy's amazing. And the movie's so dark. It was really creepy. Yeah, they're going after Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman are going after this serial killer who's killing people based off the 7 deadly sins. And every time they go to a crime scene, it's like this really brutal crime scene. Like, man, that's like hard to explain on this podcast because it's so brutal. It's like, oh yeah, this guy, he had this one guy eat himself until his stomach burst. I'm not eat himself, but eat food until his stomach burst and stuff like that. And they found him lying there dead. And another guy, that was for Sloth. And then Sloth was the guy that he had him tied down to a bed and just like filled him up and just kept injecting him with heroin. So he just wouldn't move. And then when they found his body, it was like a skeleton, but he was still alive. Creepy movie. Kevin Spacey was the bad guy in that movie. And what was cool is that what I remember about that is they didn't mention Kevin Spacey being in the movie at all, like all the promotion and stuff to the movie. So it was like when he came out as a bad guy, it was like, what? Kevin Spacey? That's Kevin Spacey. How is he a serial killer? And he's super, super creepy because at the time Kevin Spacey was like he was like the nice guy, right? Oh, it's Kevin Spacey. Yeah. He's awesome. And then they didn't want to promote the movie with him because they were afraid that people weren't going to buy him as like a villain, like a serial killer. So he was a total surprise when he came out at the end. He was like, oh, I'm the killer. And then, yeah, he did because he's such a great actor too, that he was just the creepiest guy ever. And you almost, when he explains himself, you almost kind of see his point. That's what makes the movie so messed up. He's like, well, is he wrong? I don't know. Like, I mean, the killing and stuff is wrong, but his point of view. But another big thing for me was that I had seen Brad Pitt in some other stuff, but this was the first time where I was like, dude, Brad Pitt's got skills. Like, he was like, I see him like in Thelma and Louise and where he was kind of playing like the pretty boy type, And this is where he was like really acting, and I was like, man, Brad Pitt's he's fucking good. He's hanging in there with Morgan Freeman and young Gwyneth Paltrow and stuff. But yeah, Seven's awesome. I can still throw that on today. I'd still sit down and watch the whole thing.
It's funny too because Brad Pitt did one after another of this type of movies. He did 7, and then he did 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean, they're not exactly the same, but they're kind of like the genre, like you said, away because. He had done Thelma and Louise before, River Runs Through It. That's,
yeah, I couldn't spit that one out. That was the one I was thinking of.
Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah.
And like you say, he's kind of like the blondie, romantic, or pretty boy look.
The pretty boy look, yeah.
He did do California, but I mean, he obviously was like psycho, but this, I mean, I've seen 7, and I know what you're saying. He's just totally different from his other previous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My next one. I like gangster movies. They're not my absolute favorite. All the Martin Scorsese ones, like all of them, right, are freaking sick. But my favorite is Casino.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, love Casino. That movie's like 3.5 hours long, but when it's on TV, I just sit down. Like, oh hell yeah, Casino.
Yeah.
It's Robert De Niro, and that's like prime Robert De Niro, right? Him and Joe Pesci just at their height of their powers. And it's how way back in the day when they were building up Vegas, how so involved the mob was building those casinos and running everything and running gambling. And I don't know how much of that is true and exaggerated for the movie, but man, super entertaining to see all that behind the scenes stuff, how sleazy everything was, and how how the cops and the feds were after these guys and they just couldn't catch them for whatever until Joe Pesci's character went a little off the rails.
Okay, Sharon Stone.
Yeah, Sharon Stone was in it, and she was the prostitute, right? That Robert De Niro married. Yeah. And then Joe Pesci started getting with her. Oh man, it's crazy stuff. And then you see how rich these guys got. Like these guys were so rich, and just all this all this behind the scenes stuff is great. Remember that scene when they're playing golf and it's behind his house, and then the feds were circling for so long they ran out of gas.
Yeah.
And they had to land on the fairway, and then they just take off running.
That was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and they're like $100 who can hit the plane. They start hitting the golf balls at the plane.
Oh man, I love how paranoid they got towards that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He had like bugs. Like he didn't trust anybody. He started pushing away his friends and stuff because he knew the feds were after him, and they were trying to do things like he would change his job title so his gaming license wouldn't go through and stuff like that. And yeah, it was crazy. Great, man. I love Casino. Casino's sick. And then the next one is a more recent movie. I think it came out about 5 or 6 years ago. The Raid. I don't know if you've heard about that one. It's an action movie, a Malaysian action movie.
I think I do know about it. Isn't where they go ahead and try to take over this building that's, I don't know, like a SWAT team kind of type thing?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. So the story is real simple. It's a SWAT team in Malaysia are going into this building that's pretty much a drug lord runs the building, and they're trying to get this guy. The whole movie is that they get in and they get betrayed, and now they have to get out. This small team of SWAT guys, they have to get out of this building, and this drug lord, he sits at the top, and he runs the whole building, and his whole crew lives there, and basically tells everyone, kill these guys. So you have a whole building of gangsters going after these this SWAT team.
Isn't this? I can't think of the name of it. Because wasn't there a movie like that back in the 80s? God, I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's with Wesley Snipes.
Oh, I don't know. It might.
It just reminds me of a movie where, like you said, he's in the. They're trying to get into the building, and like it's in the ghetto, and so they go through like a big old ordeal of trying to get inside. But maybe it's not New Jack City, is it? No, maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But now go ahead.
Yeah. So this movie, I mean, it obviously didn't get a lot of people didn't know about it right away because it's a Malaysian movie. It was only released here, very limited run. It also came out the same year as Dredd, and Dredd had a really similar storyline where him and the other judge got into that building, and it was run by a gangster and stuff. So this movie was kind of, it wasn't a big hit or anything, but over time people started finding it online and on. I don't think it's on Netflix. It might be, but the word of mouth started coming around this movie, and that's when it built its following. And then a couple years later, they released The Raid 2. But this movie, man, if you want to talk about old school action, martial arts, shoot 'em up style movie, this is it right here. If you're into those old school stuff, this movie, it's not, there's like hardly any CGI. I think the only CGI they use is for like blood effects and stuff. So everything's practical effects, and the choreography in the fight scenes is just amazing. This director, Gareth Evans, is a freaking genius. I don't know if you remember at Comic-Con a couple years ago, there's during one of Kevin Smith's panels, someone asked him if he had heard of Gareth Evans, and he said he did, and Gareth Evans was the future. And he was like, if I was Marvel or DC, I'd sign him on for anything, give him as much money as he wanted. That's how good this guy is. Yeah, so kind of like, when Expendables came out with Stallone and those guys, and they were kind of like, oh, this is old school action movie, no CGI and stuff like that. But those movies they're not very good. This is the movie to watch. Not those ones. It's these movies. These guys go in with they're using their hands, they're using skills, they're using guns to get out. Everything's practical effects. You're going to see stuff you've never seen before in the fight scenes. It's amazing. The first raid's only like 90 minutes long. It's not very long. And it's just right from the get-go, it just starts. Boom, just crazy action all the way through. Simple story, easy to follow. There's no BS. It's just great, great action. Raid 2 is great too, but it's a little longer and it gets a little, they add more story and it kind of loses, I guess, not focus, but since the first one's so short, it's almost like short and sweet. Just bam, awesome. Whereas the second one, you start getting a little bloated with story and stuff. So if anyone wants to see great action, old school style, The Raid by Gareth Evans, It says it's Malaysian, so subtitles is the way to go and stuff. But yeah, that's on my honorable mention. I love watching that one. I'm bored. I just have some time to kill before I go to bed or something. Boom, just throw on the raid.
Yeah, I see that there's a 2, and then there's a 3, and the third one is supposed to set 3 hours before the Red Raid 2 finishes.
Yeah. So they're working on the third one.
They haven't mentioned, but I guess the director said it's not going to probably be done soon.
Right. I think he's got another movie coming, and it's got a bigger name cast and stuff. So he's going to be coming up soon. People are going to be knowing his name, Gareth Evans. Yeah, if I was Marvel and stuff, and if I was going to do like a a Punisher movie or something, this guy would be the guy to get. So he's one of my favorite up and coming directors. And hey, Kevin Smith supports him.
Yeah. Oh, I remembered why I was thinking Wesley Snipes. Demolition Man. That's the beginning.
Demolition Man. Yeah.
Remember how he has the whole place wired, and that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
The whole building, them trying to take over it. So, but.
Yeah, I couldn't remember either. I was like, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it. And then my next 2 movies are 2 movies that I watched as a kid. I probably watched them both a million times combined. Pee Wee Herman and Ninja Turtles.
Oh man, Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman, man. Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Tim Burton, his first big movie is Tim Burton at his best before he sucked. Trippy movie. If you actually watch it now, you're like, what the hell? What is this? What am I watching? When you're a kid, you're like, this is so funny.
Yeah.
But man, it's funny. It's a funny movie. Even now, you put it on, it's hilarious. There's some legitimately funny parts, and it's weird. It's trippy. You have that scene where he's in the hospital and everyone's like a clown, and it has that weird music going, and like, remember they get his bike and they dip it like the devil dips it in the water. It's weird, super weird, but it's funny as hell. Love that one. When I was a kid, I watched it every day on loop. And then Ninja Turtles, the 1989 Ninja Turtles live action, the first one.
Yeah.
That one's actually pretty cool. Even if you watch it today, they took it seriously. The filmmakers, it wasn't like the recent ones, the Michael Bay ones, the CGI ones.
Yeah.
Where they're just money grabs, they just throw the turtles, have them look cool and do cool stuff, and the story doesn't make sense. Like, no, this one was a real story. They took it seriously. They developed their characters. You really felt for them. Yeah, you look at it. I mean, it's kind of cheesy, the dialogue. Michelangelo going "Cowabunga, dude," stuff like that. It gets on your nerves, but I can't leave these 2 movies out because I watched them a million times as a kid. So I had to give them props.
I agree with you though. I mean, I actually did also like both of them. It's so funny though because these are. You would have been like a kid when these both came out.
I was a kid. I was like 7 years old.
Yeah, because Teenage came out in 90, P came out in 85. So, wow. We're old. And I was just looking too at the IMDb and Casey Jones, Elias Koteas.
Yeah. Yeah. Was he on Law and Order or something?
He might have.
He was on one of those shows, yeah, for a long time.
In the General Hospital. Oh, CSI.
CSI, there you go. Okay. Now, just to be specific on this, I'm talking about the original Ninja Turtles, like you said, the 1991. Not Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, because that's when the cheesiness starts coming in, and that's when Vanilla Ice came in with the turtle rap. This is when you can tell the movie was just starting to be about cash, with the cash grab. And the third one, where they go back in time, remember that one, where they're like samurais or something?
Yeah, they go to Japan. Feudal Japan.
They go to feudal Japan. Somehow they have a time machine. I don't even remember it because I saw that movie once and I started to cry because it was so bad. So not Ninja Turtles 2, not Ninja Turtles 3. The OG 1990 Ninja Turtles live action. I think it's just called Ninja Turtles the movie. That one. So just to be clear on that, 9-year-old John knew the difference between a good movie and a bad one. So those were our honorable mentions. Let's get into our top 10. Jesse, what's your number 10?
Okay, I'm gonna just throw this off the bat. These are not listed in the best or worst, except for the last one. The last one is the top. But other than that, these are I just throw them on the list, and I'm gonna say just however they're on the list. So we'll do Saving Private Ryan first.
Okay.
I love that movie. I love the opening sequence. I saw this in the movie theaters. Nobody talked. The whole movie theater was just quiet during that whole war scene. I want to say that this is, and have been more movies before that. Apocalypse Now. I don't know, a bunch of other wartime movies. But I think the way that Spielberg this is a Spielberg movie, yeah. The way Spielberg plays those first 5 minutes are surreal. I mean, you even see the bullets flying into the water, and people getting shot, and you see people kind of like getting burned up by the exploding tanks in the back of their the fire tanks or whatever they were, and people just dying asking for help, people crying for their mothers, and it just showed how real war was. And like I said, I mean, you see that also in Apocalypse Now and stuff, but it's a lot of Vietnam movies, but this one for some reason just really hit me the most. Where I was just like, holy shit! And then after that, you kind of going through seeing how this small group has a specific mission that they don't even want to do to recover this one guy. And I kind of like the fact that Saving Private Ryan is about making sure that this kid gets home, and because his mom has already lost 2 other kids, so the War Department is like, oh shit, this is gonna be bad PR. This mother loses all her 3 kids to war on the same day or the same week, whatever it was. So I think that Tom Hanks plays a really pivotal role as the leader of the group, and I love the fact how they all have kind of like a bet of what he does outside of the military, and you find out he's like a regular teacher. He's not like anything else but just a regular Joe, a teacher, and also how even Private Ryan's like, why are you doing this? I shouldn't be so special. My brother's died for this. I should be here too. So he understands that, like he's humble, that, he wants to be there with his brothers now that he's lost his real brothers. So, I mean, to me, the whole movie itself was really, really good. Like the storyline, the effects, and then you see at the end where he's now in the present and he's gone giving, making sure, was my life worth it? Where you're losing your life worth mine, kind of thing. So to me, I think it was a well-rounded movie, and Steven Spielberg movie, so you can't go wrong.
No, yeah, no, I remember the same thing too when I saw it in the theater. Yeah, everyone was just like dumbfounded that first scene. Just like what are we watching? Like that was such a great way to start that movie. It was just a devastating fight scene, action scene, and it was a game changer. Like I remember. Because war movies, they would shoot their guns and people would die and stuff. But this one, like, you can hear the bullets going by. You can, like everyone, like no one did that before. And now they do. Everyone does it, right? You hear the bullets going by, and the bullets hitting the ground. And he also sort of showed how, like you said, how brutal it was. Like guys' arms are blown off. And one guy, remember, he's like on the beach walking around trying to find his arm. And, and
he like, doesn't realize what's going on. He has it, I think, in his one arm.
Right. Yeah.
He's kind of just. It's like crazy.
Yeah, and then like Tom Hanks is talking to the radio guy, and he tells him something. He turns away, then he brings him back. His face was gone.
Yeah,
like it was crazy. I remember just everyone just like their eyes were so big, like just staring at the screen, like, oh my god, this is not what I thought this movie was gonna be. And it was a game changer. Like I said, all war movies after that, like, okay, this is the bar now. You have to do this. They said great story. Tom Hanks, Vin Diesel. The first time we saw Vin Diesel.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. You had Giovanni Ribisi, Matt Damon. Just a great cast of that movie. Yeah, that's a good one, man. Saving Private Ryan is pretty awesome. Actually, with my number 10 movie, I also have a war movie on there. Full Metal Jacket.
Yes.
Yeah, the Stanley Kubrick war movie. And this one is different. It's a Vietnam movie, and that's kind of what I like about this one is Vietnam was so much more political than World War II. World War II was good versus evil, right? USA and everyone against Germany because it's good and evil. Hitler is bad. And Vietnam wasn't like that. It was like, what are we doing over there? Should we even be there? Everyone, there's a lot of people in America protesting the war. We shouldn't be there. And it wasn't as cut and dry. It was very gray. And you see that in this movie. Yeah, these soldiers over there, they don't know what they're doing over there. You saw the dirtiness of that war, right? You had like the kids that were suicide bombers and how messed up it was. It wasn't like a feel good movie at all. It was messed up. It's dirty. Stanley Kubrick is a great director, and he really showed like, hey, this was messed up. I think Full Metal Jacket might have been the first Vietnam War movie. I think because you had Apocalypse Now and Platoon. Remember Platoon with Charlie Sheen?
Right.
Yeah. So I think Full Metal Jacket was the first one, and that was the first one to show like, hey, this war was jacked up. Like, there was no winner, there was no loser. Just stuff was wrong, and like I said, it was political and really, really dirty, and that's what this movie kind of drives that point home. And then also its opening scene. Remember with Gomer Pyle?
Yes.
Yeah, that opening scene. Same. It was like Saving Private Ryan. That you're like, what am I watching? But in a totally different way. And it was we talked about him before as Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
When he's super young, he's like 19, 20, and he's a private in the U.S. Army training to go to Vietnam, and he gets bullied so hard because he's a big screw up, and they start calling him Gomer Pyle, and he can't do anything right, and he gets bullied to the point that he kills himself. Like, that's crazy. Like, wait a minute, what? I thought this was about America going and fighting the wars. Like, no, this movie is different. This is not the type of movie. It's not that movie. So same thing. That opening scene was like Saving Private Ryan, but a different way. Like, this is fucked up. Like, what is this? And something people had never seen before. So, and that one was kind of game changer too. And that, like I said, after that, the Vietnam War movies started coming out, and they're different than the World War II ones. Which, like you said, like World War II movies have been coming out for years and years and years, and it was always the good guys versus bad guys. We're good, they're bad. Full Metal Jacket. That's my number 10.
It gives a perspective of how, coming from the military side, like you said, these guys are being trained, the pressure that they go through, the training, and you see it. Of course, you see the Vietnam War and what goes on, but this puts you more perspective of what they were going through. Within the group, within like discipline, like the sergeant, the training that they were getting. I think that's kind of, like you said, where it was different before. It was just like, oh, they're just attacking each other, and maybe a little skirmish here and there within the groups. But this is kind of like from the training point up to going to war, into action. So I agree with you. I think this movie was really good too.
So what's your number 9?
My next one, The Exorcist.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I have read the book when I was 10. So
10 years old? What were you doing reading at 10 years old?
Hey, I was reading a lot of crazy shit when I was young. But I remember the book is the shit, dude. So the movie, let me see when it came out, because I know I didn't see the movie until after I read the book. And so Exorcist came out in 1973. And I was always too young to even see it. It was one of those things you just can't see. Your parents are not going to rent it out for you. I probably didn't see it until I was a little older. But I'd always heard about the movie, and it's like, it's really good, and she does this crazy shit, blah, 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 Linda Blair, throwing up, whatever, right? And when I was around that age, around 9, 10, I started listening or reading about the cult. Goes, that's why I'm ready to have the conversation with Clay. And so I picked up the book. The book is so detailed, so graphic. It is, if you have an imagination, it is actually worse than the movie. But the movie does the justice. There's parts in the book that aren't in the movie. Of course, you can't put everything in a movie, but it is there. Like, there's a part of the cross where, what she does with it. I can't even probably have this podcast.
Right.
But when I had the chance, when I got to see The Exorcist, I saw it and I regretted it. I was like, I thought I had fucked up imagination as a kid. These people have a worse imagination than I have. And just the way she twisted her neck, and I gotta give props to the little girl, because she's doing all these things, and she's only like 13.
Yeah. Yeah, she was young.
I was like, how can you do that? How parents let you do this and not get fucked up for the rest of your life? So, but no, I thought this is one of the top, there's Freddy Krueger, there's Jason, and then maybe it's because I have a Catholic upbringing that maybe this one touches me the most. Because in Freddy, you just fucking wake up, you're done. It's like later Freddy or Jason, just don't get into any wood. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, just avoiding any hillbilly area. But with the devil, you can't really escape the devil. So mostly when he takes over a little white girl. So yeah, I've seen Exorcist. I've seen some of the offshoots, and some of them have been good. But I still think The Exorcist, even with the CGI that it was, really really good, really really scary. And I'll watch it every so often, but not at night.
Yeah, I know people, people who saw it back then are still traumatized by it.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a website that was dedicated to The Exorcist showing, and they were showing like old film reels of their reaction. Like people were standing in line for hours to get in, and they would just leave in the middle because they were scared shitless. And they're like, "Where are you going?" "I'm going back in line because I need to finish the movie. It was that good, but it scared the shit out of me." I mean, you got to go online and look for it. There's just like an old news footage that's like 20, 30 minutes long. It might have been maybe even into like a documentary on how crazy this film affected people at that time.
Yeah, I mean, what I'll do today, every once in a while, just to be mean, is that, if I'm with my family, we're all at a get together or something, and I'll put the theme song on my phone, and I'll just play it next to my mom and my aunt. They went to go see it together when they were kids, and they just, like, they'll be talking, full on laughing. I'll just put that phone by their ears, and they just stop, and they'll look at me, and they're like, "Oh, that's funny, John." I'll just leave it playing, and then my mom's like, "Turn it off." She gives me the eye. I'm okay. I'm sorry. I'm just joking. Yeah, but that's all scared they are. Like, I just play the theme song, they freak out, and I have to turn it off or they'll beat me up or something. But no, that movie, I talked about it on my first podcast, and that's a freaky ass movie, dude. That movie, yeah, it's messed up.
Read the book, dude. Read the book. And, like I said, I read it when I was 10. I think you can get away with reading it now.
Yeah.
All right. So what's yours?
My number 9 is, I talked about him earlier, Dave Fincher, his second movie, Fight Club. Yeah, and this one, I remember when I watched it back in the day, and I think if I remember correctly, it didn't do well in the theater. It's a movie.
It's one of those pop culture.
Yeah. It's one of those movies where you're like, you watch it the first time. I remember I watched it the first time, and I was like, yeah, that's cool, I guess. As the twist at the end, that's kind of cool. But then when you watch it, it's when you watch it again, and you're like, oh shit. And you start seeing the clues that he left. That spoiler alert, 20-year spoiler alert. Brad Pitt and Ed Norton are the same person, right?
Yeah.
For all of you who didn't see this in 1996, but when you watch it again, you're like, oh, wait a minute, and there's this clue, and then there's that clue. Okay, and then you watch it again, and you see more, and then you really start seeing how smart this movie was. That it's all there for you from the beginning. That this dude, he's talking to himself, and you see it. Oh, and the more you watch it, the more you see it, and the more you appreciate it. So this is the type of movie you need to see over and over multiple times, and you really get to see how smart and how this movie was put together. And then the twist becomes even better. So like the first time I saw it, I saw the twist, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And then when I saw it again, it's like, oh shit, like this was right there, it was in front of my face. And then I started like, man, I'm so dumb, I didn't see it. And then the twist comes, and it hits you even harder. You're like, oh, man, now I get it. Maybe because I was younger at the time as well. I was like 13, 14, so maybe I didn't get it because I was just a dumb kid. But over the years, as I watched it over and over, it's become better and better and better. And to the point where I was like, you know what? This movie's on there for me. This is on my list. And again, it was Brad Pitt. It was after Seven and after 12 Monkeys, showing how great of an actor he is. And then that was also the first movie with Ed Norton that I remember seeing. I'm like, who's this dude? And he was freaking great. And then he went on to become Ed Norton. Movie's messed up. It's dirty, right? These people are like dirt poor, and they like Marla, the girl, she goes into laundromats and just takes people's clothes out of the dryer and just walks out. That's how she goes shopping for clothes. And they're squatting. They live in an old abandoned building that's that's not it's been condemned. It's not suitable to live in, but that's where they live. They just squat there. And it's just these really nasty people. And then they start up this fight club, and it's it's a smart movie. There's metaphors about working in an office job and being a drone, and this movie's like, wake up, don't do that stuff. I mean, there's all of that too, but just for me, it's the whole point of that Dave Fincher puts everything in there for you, and it's right there for you to see it. It's just, can you see it the first time? Can you see it the second time? Can you see it? How observant and how smart are you? And because of that, I love this movie. It's so well done. It's kind of ahead of its time. That's probably why it didn't do well in the theater. Its initial release. If you did that out maybe today, it might have done people might appreciate it a little bit more. Because that was around the time of like Independence Day, stuff like movies like that. Like those are the movies that were out at the time. Big action movies. We talked about Batman Forever, like stuff like that. That's what was coming out in '96. So this movie didn't really have a chance in the theater, but as it went on video and later DVD and stuff, that's when its fan base grew, and that's what really like cemented me too as Dave Fincher. Like, I'm all, this guy's freaking legit. This director, he's won Oscars, bunch of Oscars since then. Gone Girl does his last one, and that one's freaking great too. So this guy can do anything. Yeah. So Fight Club. Fight Club's my number 9.
It was funny because for the longest time, people would always tell me, "You gotta see Fight Club. You gotta go see Fight Club." And sometimes I'm that anti, like, everyone's watching it. I'm gonna go sit, like, I didn't see Twilight until like fucking maybe the third one, just because I didn't. Well, one, the premise of the story didn't excite me, but second, it was like, well, everyone's watching it, fuck it, I'm gonna see it. So I just didn't want to see it, Fight Club, just because everyone was telling me to see it. So I finally saw it, and I saw it maybe about 5 to 6 years ago, and when I saw it, like, fuck, why didn't I see this before? And the thing is, I don't want to compare it to The Sixth Sense, because Sixth Sense is a totally different movie, but it has that twist, like you said, Dan, where, like, everything was there, but you don't notice it until you find out and you realize, holy shit, like you said, he's just the same person. And once you realize that, like you said, you gotta watch it and see all of the nuances you missed off, and like, fuck, and you're right, it's like you kind of kick yourself in the ass, how come I didn't see that? And he does a really good job with the storyline where you just assume that they're two different people, that that is not himself, and he's just imagining something. So
Jesse, what's your number 8?
My number 8, I'm gonna have to say Alien. I was trying to figure out, do I like Alien or Alien? And well, I kind of like Aliens because she's, there's the little girl and all that, the aspect, and she seems to be like more of a bitch. You kind of also have to give props to the original. The original, again, like you said, game changer. I mean, what was like the Alien movies around that time? Like nothing. It was Encounters of the Third Kind,
right?
And E.T. So for this movie to come out in the '70s, it was a game changer. It was like a first real introduction into horror type of Alien movie. They do a really good job. They obviously started a franchise. Sigourney Weaver was also kick-ass there. The whole concept of I don't know, it's not a cyborg, I guess he would be an android, and just this, it was just crazy, like I said, it was hard to go for 2 because with 2, it's a lot of the military and the fighting and the shooting, but the number 1, like you said, is introduction, it's, I don't know, that's why it's kind of hard when you have to choose between some of the franchises, and I'll talk about that like 2 more times on my list. But yeah, I think Alien was just up there. It was also one of probably the first scary movies I saw when I was younger, and obviously I didn't see it when it came out, but when I was younger, I was able to see it. It freaked me out. It was like, holy shit, every so often when you have that indigestion, you're like, oh, I hope it's not an alien popping out, So I think this movie should be on the top 10.
Yeah. I talked about Alien before. It was on my list too. This one was a horror movie, and like you're saying, the aliens up to that point were all like the little gray men.
Yeah.
Little gray men, that was the type aliens. They were more mysterious and stuff. And then E.T. was the friendly one. This was the first time it was an alien that was a big scary thing, a big scary creature that was, hunting and killing and ripping people apart in brutal ways. And after this movie, all the other Alien movies started being like that. Not just this franchise, but just in general. There were all these big, scary monster things. But this was the first one to be like this thing that just hunt and kills for no reason. You don't even know why. It's just an animal in outer space. And the design of the creature is classic. One of the best designed monsters ever in any medium. So, yeah, Alien 1 is like you said, it's a horror. It's more horror. The second one is more action. And it was actually a good move by James Cameron to change it up like that, because he's like, there's no way he can top that first one. Like, oh, I'm going to do another scary one. It's not going to work because that one's such a classic. So he pivoted to an action movie when they brought in the Space Marines made it more action style. And that one's great too. Like you said, it was hard to pick between the two, right? Because they're both sick. They're just different. One's an action movie and the other one's more straight horror. But yeah, no, good choice. That's on my list of all-time best horror movies too. It would have been on this list for best movie ever, but I took it out.
And I think, wasn't this a headline? Like, no one can hear you scream.
Yeah, in space, no one can hear you scream.
Yeah.
That's classic, dude.
Yeah, the tagline, like, it was like, I mean, you see the original posters and everything. It's just a really good movie.
Yeah. So my number 8 is Unforgiven, Clint Eastwood. And I'm not a big Western guy. I never was growing up. I was like, because my grandfather loves Westerns. Loves John Wayne is the greatest thing that ever walked the face of the earth. So I remember as a kid watching these Westerns, and they were all the Westerns from like the 50s and the 60s, and they're really kind of cornball-y, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like they had the old type of way of talking, hey, partner, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, So I remember being a kid, like, wait, I don't like Westerns, they're dumb. And I didn't see this one until, it's been over 10 years. I want to say about 12, 13 years ago, I found this movie, watched it, and oh my God, this movie blew me away. I was like, whoa, I didn't know Westerns were like this. And it's older Clint Eastwood. He was, from what you can tell in the movie, he was some kind of outlaw badass, like, not badass, like, don't fight that guy, but he was like a murderer, a thief. You don't know what this guy did. They keep hinting at his background of being just this evil dude. And he meets a woman, changes his ways, and he kind of retires from that life, and he has kids. And his wife has passed when the movie starts. And he's just like a farmer. And this kid comes up and says there's a contract out. And at the beginning of the movie, you see these two prostitutes at a brothel. They get attacked. One guy attacks one of them, slices her face off. Not her face off. He just slices her up. They put a bounty on these guys. So this kid comes up to Clint Eastwood and is like, there's a big bounty and I know you can use the money. So Clint Eastwood comes out of retirement, just for this one last job. And it's him and Morgan Freeman, who was his running mate back in the day. And this kid who's like this really brash young guy. He keeps talking about how he's killed people and stuff. And they know he's bullshitting, but they just go along with it. So you see like these older guys hunting these younger guys. And it's such a great movie because it's not the typical Western where like I was talking about earlier in the World War II movies, you had good and bad. Like this, not like that where like John Wayne, he was the good guy and you had the bad guys. These two guys are, the bounty hunter. They're pretty much bounty hunters at this point. And then Clint Eastwood has this really bad past, and he's trying to stay on this. He's trying to stay on the narrow, straight and narrow here. He's just, these guys are bad. I'm gonna kill them, get my money, and that's it. But stuff goes wrong along the way, and he has to become his name is William Money. At the end of the movie, he kind of reverts back to that, and he has it's one of the classic showdowns between him and Gene Hackman. He plays Little Bill, yeah. And man, Gene Hackman is a badass in this movie. He's the sheriff of the town. You just don't mess with Gene Hackman, dude. And then there's another British guy, a sharpshooter, comes into town. He thinks he's badass, and Gene Hackman whoops his ass and pretty much puts a stamp down that he's the baddest dude in town. He crosses Clint Eastwood, and they have this big showdown at the end. It's for me anyway, it was one of the best endings I had seen in a movie. I remember just sitting there just like, oh my God, just blown away by it. And after that, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should start watching some Westerns. So after that, I went back and I found some, what I realized was that I don't like the John Wayne Westerns. I like more the Clint Eastwood Westerns. They're a little darker, a little more edgier than those old school types. So make sure I give Unforgiven props because it opened up a whole new genre of movie that I was ignoring and pushing off to the side. A certain idea about them, and I was like, Westerns are dumb. And then after this, I was like, oh wait, maybe these are not as bad as I thought, and I found some good ones along the way. So yeah, Unforgiven. What's up?
No. Yeah, I was just thinking. I totally agree with you with the Western movies. I'm not really a Western person, but someone was telling me this is not your typical Western movie. I mean, like you said, John Wayne and all those, they're a little too cheesy. It's a little bit too good guy, bad guy. You always know that the good guy is going to win. But here, it's kind of like there's moral dilemmas. You don't know who the real hero is. I mean, the sheriffs, you would think, would be considered the hero or the good guy, but in reality, not that Gene Hackman's a bad guy, but in this case he is. He's, the opposite of Clint Eastwood, who you choose. He is a good guy, even though he's got this past, he's got a lot of killings, but he has a heart. He like you said, he gave up his bad ways for his wife, and he's trying. in a way, he's trying not to disgrace her name or her. It's kind of like John Wick. John Wick got out of the game and he was brought back, extenuating circumstances.
Right.
And he wanted to stay out of the game because his wife had changed him. So it's like he doesn't want to be bad, or he doesn't want to kill. It's the same thing with like Clint Eastwood persona. Morgan Freeman is just kind of like the comedy of it, and I think I kind of like that too. It wasn't fully serious, and it was a really good film. I agree with you. If I would have remembered it, I would have had it on my list too.
And fun fact too is this movie is inspiration for Old Man Logan.
Oh really?
Yeah, Mark Millar's come out and said that Old Man Logan was kind of like his homage to Unforgiven.
That's funny. Yeah, this movie was good, and Clint Eastwood just has that. I don't know if he's just gotten better with age. I mean, when you see Torino, Gran Torino, and see Unforgiven, and some of these other stuff compared to the Dirty Harry and stuff. I mean, he just, I don't know. He still scares you,
Yeah. He's old, but you're like, I'm not gonna mess with him.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just a really good actor, and now he's director, of course, and it's gonna be obviously a sad day once he passes. He is up there.
All right, so that was my number 8. What's your number 7?
I have to say Jaws. Again, early movies. I mean, you never go to the beach again the same way. And because that motherfucker didn't give a shit about anything. If he was gonna eat you, he was gonna eat you. And before then, I think if it wasn't for Jaws, we wouldn't have Shark Week.
Right, yeah.
Or Sharknado.
Yeah.
I mean, sharks are scary. But before, when have you really seen a movie based on just one shark? And how crazy of a motherfucker. I mean, this is like a Godzilla version of a shark. And I know they don't explain it why this one is like super, super huge. But, there's always that scientific thing that sharks would never die at old age, so this could be one of those prehistoric sharks. But damn, dude, this movie was scary as fuck. And the fact that they made a ride at Universal Studios and everything, and it was a pretty good film for the time being. And I know that if they had, I want to say if they would have made that movie now with a CGI, they would have fucked it up.
Right.
I think that this is one of those movies where the old classic look was much better for this film than nice and pretty and realistic computer graphics. I don't think it would have given you the sense of fear. I mean, you obviously would be in awe of whatever they drew up in CGI, but I don't think it's the same with the special effects. And it's weird because there's some movies that they just fuck up with CGI. And if you try to remake a movie, like the new King Kong, okay, it looks okay, but if you look over the years, all the other Kongs that they've kind of been doing, the original looks way better.
Yeah,
and that was the puppet.
Yeah,
that was
the claymation and stuff.
Yeah, so I guess you just feel more for it with how they did it back then.
Yeah, and like a lot of this one is that I talked about this on my other podcast as well. Is that the shark the animatronic puppet didn't work. It was always breaking on them. Yeah, it was always breaking them. That's why you don't see it that much. So Spielberg had to get creative. Like, okay, we can't use this thing because every time we try and use it, it breaks. So he went with the less is more approach, and that made it even more scary because then now you're thinking the whole time, you start scaring yourself.
Where's he at?
Yeah, where's he at? What's he looking? What is he doing? And then when you did see him, he was this big, huge, scary shark. But yeah, that's why he did that. Is that it was out of necessity. The puppet didn't work, so they had to figure out and use their creativity to make it scarier in a different way.
Yeah, and it was a classic story of beast versus man.
Yeah,
and, that was his well. I want to make sure I kill this shark and stuff. So, it was a good storyline. It had kind of like a good cast. Richard Dreyfuss was in it. Roy Scheider. Or
Yeah, he was badass in that movie.
Yeah.
Smile, you son of a bitch. And, that's classic. Classic line, man. Yeah. So we're only talking about the first one, not Jaws 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just the first one.
Yeah. I remember when Back to the Future 2, where they show Jaws 10 or whatever it was. That was great. So yeah, what's your next one?
Well, this one is kind of similar in another creature that less is more, and I'm kind of breaking my rule a little bit, but I'm putting this more in sci-fi action. And that's Predator.
Oh yeah, I was gonna put that on my list.
Yeah,
too.
this one same thing. It's in the horror. It's kind of a horror movie, but not really. It's more sci-fi, cat and mouse. There is horror movie when he's leaving the skin bodies hanging and stuff, and they're being hunted by this animal. But it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, so it's not true horror style. It's more action. It's more big guns. It's more sci-fi actiony. So I'm kind of cheating a little bit, but I think I'm justified here.
Nah, yeah.
But man, I love Predator. Predator is my shit. Did you play Contra? You played Contra on Nintendo, right?
Oh yeah.
So if they made Contra to a movie, it's this one. This is what it is, dude. Whenever someone says that they should make Contra a movie, I go, they did. It's called Predator. Yeah, Arnold. You have freaking Apollo Creed. All these big yoked up dudes, Jesse Ventura, with these big ass guns, and they're just the baddest guys. And when you watch this movie, you're like, fuck, like they got the buffest dudes on the planet and put them all in one movie. And then they start getting wrecked. This thing is just killing them. You see these big, strong, badass military guys start getting scared and they start freaking out because this thing is killing them and they can't stop it. They can't even see him because he's invisible. And so you see this change in the beginning of the movie. You go from these guys who are indestructible, right? They go into that town. Remember, they go into that village in Cambodia, wipe out the village because it was a communist. They're working with the Russians and stuff, and they're just these guys that are just unstoppable. And then they start getting hunted by this thing, and then you're like, whoa, what the fuck is this thing? It just killed Jesse Ventura. That's Jesse Ventura. And these guys are just these dudes you would never mess with in real life, and this thing is just fucking them up.
Nothing.
Yeah, like nothing. He's just crushing them, and then these guys try to fight it one-on-one, and they just keep losing and keep dying. And then it's like this unstoppable killing machine, and the only thing that can stop him is Arnold, because it's fucking Arnold. No one beats Arnold. They have that great fight scene at the end where he covers himself in mud, remember? And he tricks them to come to that. He sets up all these traps, and oh man, just a great action movie. It's like it's one of those movies I call it's like a manly movie, right? You're like, yeah, I'm a fucking man when you watch this shit. Like, you want to hit the gym afterwards and start looking at like these guys. So just in case the Predator shows up. Then what's up?
When all you need to do is cover yourself in mud.
Yeah. It's like, oh shoot, I'm just gonna jump in the pool and hang out in the pool, and he can't find me. But again, another, we're talking about this great alien, big creature design. We're talking about it with Alien, but the Predator is another one. That design, Stan Winston designed it. God dang, man! When he takes the mask off and it has the mandibles, the dreadlocks, like it's become an iconic creature itself. And it's a creature. It's a creature, but it's not. It's a sentient being that's an advanced race than ours, and is hunting us for fun. It just likes to come to Earth and hunt people. Like, that's dope. That's a great idea. And they have a set of rules. They almost like an honor. If they show in this movie, if you don't have a gun, if you're not armed, they won't go after you. It'll only get you if they can see like almost like you're deemed worthy and a worthy opponent. Then they'll fight you and stuff. And that was explored in later movies. And the character ended up being so popular that it crossed over with Aliens. Right? We had the Alien vs Predator movies. Yeah. This was the first of a big franchise. Love the first one's a classic. The second one sucks. The one with Donald Glover.
I never saw that one.
Yeah, the one the city one is in New York. That one's crappy. I was like, wait a minute, because you went from this big unstoppable thing that Arnold takes out, and Danny Glover. Danny Glover kills one. I'm like, oh, what? Danny Glover? Those badass dudes in the forest can do it, but Danny Glover can kill one. So forget that one. And then they had Predators recently. That was a little better. Where they get put on the Predator planet itself. So you kind of got more into the backstory of the Predators. But yeah, Predator. Love that movie. Classic action movie from the 80s, but big alien creature in there. And Arnold at his is top of his game too. So yeah, I love me some Predator.
Yeah, the only other action movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger that I think can top that is the Terminator movie.
Right.
That like Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. After that, the Terminators aren't that great, but those two are the only time when I can see Arnold, like you said, at his peak as high as like in that action type scenes. He's funny in some other movies like Twins and stuff like that. But like I said, in toughness, these are the two franchises where you just see them as like, holy shit, you know? And like you said, it's like it's weird how he even deducts that, because it's not like him and the Predator have conversation or like what here are the rules, or he just wasn't given a handbook of like, oh, how to beat a Predator. He figures it out. He just says, oh, he has infrared, and so obviously if I'm hidden in mud or something, then he can't see me, you know. And then he obviously outsmarts.
Yeah, and then the girl, the hostage they had, remember, she picked up the gun, and Arnold goes, no, and he kicks it out of her hand.
Yeah,
because he realized knowing that he only goes after if you're armed. So yeah, sick. Yeah, Predator, man, that's my shit.
Yeah, and it was really, really good film. Like you said, it's just all these big tough guys like just being taken out. Bah,
yeah,
bah. and they're like basically crying, like, oh my god, look at these kids, blah blah. I'm like, oh man, this sucks.
Yeah, they start freaking out, breaking down. It's good stuff.
And then, like you said, the mask. Like, you don't expect to see that when he just takes his mask. You're like, holy shit, you didn't think he could be worse.
Yeah. Yeah, he's scary already. Then you see his freaking crazy face.
It was cheesy sound effects, though. Like, when the stupid gun would move around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is the 80s. It is the 80s, so let's like.
Yeah, exactly. But other than that, yeah, the effects and everything, the costume, like you said, oof. Yeah, I agree with you.
So what's your number 6?
You said you like gangster movies. I like gangster movies too.
Jesse's a gangster.
Gangster, the OG gangster too. On the list, The Godfather 2.
Yeah.
Godfather 1 was good. You gotta give props for the first one.
Yeah, Marlon Brando.
Yeah, but the second one was much better because you see Al Pacino. He takes the lead in this franchise. I don't know. To me, 2 is just the best out of the trilogy. The whole wedding scene. I mean, first of all, the whole Godfather series is really great because they introduce you to the background of the Italian mobs, the honor system that they have. Like you never know how a family is affected. You know. When you hear gangsters of the mobs, you just know about the cops and the shootouts. You just see that. You don't really see, how even if your family, you're gonna get snuffed if you betray the family, and betrayals and all that stuff. Jealousies. So it's part 2. Like I said, out of 3, I think is the best one. I mean, like I said, the whole film series, you gotta love because of the insights that it gives you on this whole family, and that's what it is. It's basically just like a 3-parter story on this family. I want to say it's even more that than a gangster movie. It just happens to be that they're mobsters, or that they run the mob or the gangsters, however you want to call it. But like I said, number 2, Pacino's got to be the best one.
Is that the one when they had was it part 3 when they brought in Robert De Niro when he was young?
De Niro,
was that 3?
Maybe. Let me see. And that's the whole thing. You have all these great actors in this whole franchise. Let's see.
And I think that was De Niro's first movie too.
It's part 2.
It is part 2. Yeah, I think that's De Niro's first movie. So that you have De Niro and Pacino, young, real young.
Oh yeah, and you also have Diane Keaton there as Pacino's wife, Robert Duvall.
Yeah, the consigliere.
Yeah, and he plays it well. It's just like he even feels like did I do something wrong when they're like, we're gonna have somebody else go to Vegas, blah blah blah, whatever. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, those the only thing with those movies there is they're slow burns. Like there's not a lot of action. You
No,
have to sit
and
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 it just
that's the thing with this one. Like you said, it's one of those movies you have to want to see. You can't just sit down and like, oh, let's throw that on the movie. Like, yeah, no, Robert De Niro had been in other movies before. Yeah, because he had Encounter. No, let's actually see if there's something that's actually good.
yeah. This I remember this one. I was like, whoa, this dude's. But what did he do? Taxi Driver first or this one?
After he did Taxi Driver
Yeah,
2 years after,
Taxi Driver
but
is awesome too.
Mean Streets, that would have been his movie right before The Godfather.
All right.
Maybe that's how they saw him. But there was a TV miniseries. According to this, 1977, The Godfather Saga.
No, I think no. What they do is they because they have the prequels. I mean, not the prequels, but they show like Robert De Niro when he's young, playing young Marlon Brando and stuff. So what they do is they edit it to where they start the movies there, and then they play it all in order, and it's like 6 hours long. Yeah, so they put that for TV. So they have the young stuff with young young Vito and young Luca Brasi when they start it up, and then so they just put that at the beginning, and then they put Godfather 1, then 2, then 3.
I see.
But since we're going gangster, my next one's a gangster one too. This one was really hard, so like I wanted to make sure I had one of his movies on here. I just didn't know which one. Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I am a huge Tarantino mark. Like anything that guy does, I'm all over it. Love Quentin Tarantino, except for Jackie Brown. I don't know what the hell happened to Jackie Brown. I'll just forget that. Yeah, I'll just forget that one. Even Death Proof, which a lot of people don't like, I still it's not his best movie, but it's still enjoyable. Jackie Brown is just bad. I don't know what happened, but yeah, but I had to get one of his movies on here, and it was up. Of course, this one and Pulp Fiction are his two classics that everyone points to, but I really like Reservoir Dogs. It's his first movie. It's freaking crazy, right? The whole movie is set inside a warehouse. One dude's bleeding on the floor. The whole movie, right?
Yeah.
But oh my god, the tension in that movie, because you find out early on that dude's a cop. He's undercover. You see him training and to infiltrate this gang and stuff, and he gets shot. And the rest of the gang, they were trying to heist a bank, and it went totally wrong. And they all got split up, and they all met back at the rendezvous point. And the whole movie is them trying to figure out who the rat is. And as the viewer, who the rat is, and he's the guy shot on the floor. And the other guys, Steve Buscemi, who's awesome in this movie. He's all paranoid. And yeah, Michael Madsen. Yeah, Mr. Pink. And then Michael Madsen is insane. He's the one that ruined everything because he started at the bank. You don't see it. This is all off screen, but he started shooting like crazy. Then you have a Harvey Keitel, who's always badass. They're all arguing. They're trying to figure out what to do, and they're trying to figure out who the rat is. And it's Tim Roth. He's on the floor bleeding the whole movie. And just the tension in that whole movie, that you're just on the edge of your seat. And because it was his first movie, it was super low budget, so it was all around dialogue. You don't see all that action stuff. It's just them yelling, and the acting in the movie is so great. Yeah, like to this day, man, when I put on Reservoir Dogs, I just sit there just staring at it like man, this is how do you do this? How do you make such a intense movie with nothing? It was just dialogue, just guys in a room, one room. But man, I mean, I love Tarantino. Like I said, Pulp Fiction was his huge breakout movie, and that one's amazing as well. But like, I love Inglourious Bastards, Django Unchained, and his last one that just came out, Hateful Eight. It's like when a Tarantino movie comes out, it's almost like an event, And I mark it down on my calendar. Oh, I'm gonna go see that one. And his last one was they actually shot it in that super wide, the old school 70 millimeter, and I went to go see it with my brother at the IMAX, and they even had intermission and stuff, and it was like this event. And so I love Tarantino. I love his movies. I had to make sure I got one of his movies on here. I wish I could just put at number 6. I could just put Quentin Tarantino, but since that's against the rules, I can't do that. So I had to pick one. So I'll pick Reservoir Dogs. That's his first one. I still think that's his best one, but it was a tough choice to pick to choose one. But yeah, Reservoir Dogs, going gangster.
Yeah. I have to say, Reservoir Dogs was my first movie that I saw too. That was Quentin Tarantino, and this was after the fact. It wasn't right when it came out. I probably saw it years after that. But I think Pulp Fiction was out. So because of Reservoir Dogs, I want to see Pulp Fiction. But because, like you said, it was such a good film, and then I was like, holy shit! And I was hearing good things about Pulp Fiction, so I want to see Pulp Fiction because of that. The one thing I didn't like that he did, I never saw Jackie Brown, so I can't say good or bad. What I never liked, or maybe it's just it was too confusing, was the fucking Grindhouse combo.
Yeah.
It was just like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah.
And I understand he was doing an homage to Beast movies and stuff like that. But yeah, that threw me off. That whole, I've tried watching both of them, and I just couldn't. I mean, this chick that uses her leg as a fucking shotgun.
Well, that was Robert Rodriguez. That was his.
Yeah, but I mean, it was part of the whole AB. It was Grindhouse, and then that one.
That was actually cool to see in the theater too, because it was a price of one ticket, and you got to see two movies. So you buy this one ticket, and then I think the first one was Planet Terror, and then there was an intermission, so we can walk outside, stretch our legs, get some food, and then go back and watch Death Proof. So that was pretty dope. It took all day, but it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that was crazy. And you're right. He has some very good storylines. When I saw Glorious Bastards, I didn't expect that from him. Actually, that was a little different for me from him. Mostly after seeing Kill Bill,
right,
and stuff.
Oh, I forgot Kill Bill. Fuck yeah, Kill Bill is the other one. Those movies are freaking dope.
And I hope he follows through. He was on Part 106, and they asked him if he was going to do a Kill Bill 3, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll probably do it. We'll see how it goes." But what I wanted to do is I wanted it to be done like so many years later. I think he said 20 years later, and it's the daughters,
right?
And it'll be their story. So, he said 20 years. That's like 2003. So hopefully he doesn't forget.
Yeah. I heard the same thing. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good idea. You're not doing a reboot. You're following through the story. So.
And what's cool too is we were there. We saw we were in Hall H for Hateful Eight. And he was saying that he only wants to do 2 more movies. And I was like, no, like crying on the inside. He was like, yeah, I want to do 2 movies. But, that's because I want to start doing TV. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's all good then. He's like, my movies are long as fuck anyway. So I want to do a 10 series episode, on Netflix or something. And I was like, oh, okay. It's all good. Life is good. He freaked me out for a second though. He freaked me out. I was like, oh God, no.
I'm looking at his IMDb, and he has Kill Bill. Oh, they got Kill Bill Volume 3, and it's announced. So, of course, there's no
nothing. Yeah.
And then they have an Untitled Manson Family Project.
Yeah, that one's that's the one he's working on right now. He's trying to get Brad Pitt for that movie.
He supposedly has Margaret Robbie for it.
Yeah. So he's just getting the casting going, but whatever it is, like I'm gonna be there opening night. So.
Yeah, and you would think that the actors would be like jumping onto this. Like, hey, you want to be in a Quentin Tarantino movie?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's one of those unorthodox directors, but his movies are good, So, all right, well, let's try to go over to the next film for me. What is this, number
5?
5? Okay. We're sticking with the gangster movies. Goodfellas.
Yeah, Goodfellas. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's Joe Pesci at his best, dude.
Yeah, he's insane in that movie.
Am I here for your amusement?
Yeah. Oh, right yeah. Now? Yeah. Oh. How am I funny? Funny how? Like a clown?
Yeah. And they don't know if he's fucking with him because he's that fucking crazy. He is like, the whole film was great, but just his character, I want to say, is the best out of all of that because he's psycho. He's crazy. He's just like uncontrollable.
Hey, when he kills that kid when they're playing poker, because remember he had shot him in the foot, and then later he told him like to fuck off, and he just kills him.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, and Robert De Niro's like, the fuck's your problem? He's like, what? He disrespected me, and they're like, oh my God, he just killed somebody.
Yeah, and it was like nothing. Like, oh, we'll take care of it.
Yeah, like clean it up.
He never worried about the consequences. He just did what he wanted to do, and that's why they had to take him out. He was just a loose end. But it was crazy how they took him out. It's like, oh,
Oh yeah, with the baseball bats. No, no, no,
yeah.
no, no. That was Casino.
Oh,
No,
that's right. No, they just shot
they,
him in
they
the
shot
back.
him. Yeah, because they told him he was gonna be a made. He was gonna be made a made man
Yeah.
in the mafia, and then they just shot him.
This movie is full gangster too, like Robert De Niro, Paul Sorvino, Frank Vincent. I mean,
Ray Liotta.
yeah, and that's basically what the story was around Ray Liotta's character. So I think that was maybe one of his first, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
it was one of his first ones, and it's based on a true story. That was all a true story.
yeah. So
It's like you watch
yeah,
you watch him grow up in this neighborhood, and he's a young kid, and he starts working for Paul Sorvino, who's the local gangster, right? And
yeah.
everyone respects him, and he's like, I want to be like that guy. And he starts working for him. And he works his way up all the way to where he's a full on member of the gang. And that dude, and then in real life, that dude, he got arrested and put in jail, and I think he's out. Actually, I think his parole was up a couple years ago. My brother had it. He had it all down. He knew when that guy was going to get out and stuff.
he was probably in Arizona.
Yeah.
They have a from what I've heard in Arizona they have a camp for mobsters.
Oh yeah.
Who, rat on. Yeah.
Oh shit. Yeah, and they had that scene where they were all locked up for like a year or two. Remember? But they were treated like kings in prison.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they would have like lobster dinners, and they would spend all day making these amazing meals because they were so powerful. They're sectioned off by themselves. They had a whole section by themselves, and they would give the guards like, oh, try this bread, take it to your wife, and the guards are like, oh, thanks, man. Yeah.
And it's funny too. I mean, I know that they sometimes embellish some stuff in the movies, but stuff like that was. I mean, it still happens in Mexico.
Yeah.
If you got money in prison, you're good.